Hi everyone, thanks for watching my channel. My friend Tina contracted COVID-19 last October and she is still recovering from the effects from it. She asked me to collaborate with her so that we can put her story out there so that people who may be going through this now or who went through it could know that there are people out there that are going through the same symptoms. Again, this is just her perspective and this is just her experience, and other people may be going through this, they may have different experiences. Again, so I'm just going to preface this again that this is her perspective and her experience. So thank you for being brave enough to share your story in the first place so that others can learn about what you went through and what you're currently going through. Which
Absolutely. I love to do that, Dean. I'm glad that you are doing this, interviewing me, and I would definitely would share what's going on from the beginning and during the time in the hospital, what happened in the hospital, because there's not much talk about it and what we have to go through. Because I had it really bad. I
right,
had COVID bilateral pneumonia, which is both of my lungs were fully infected with COVID, and I
right,
almost died from it. I
remember that.
almost died. Hmm.
So, but we should preface this to people that are watching that this is just your experience and
Yes.
what
Yes.
you went through, and other people may experience other things which could be lesser or maybe more extreme. So just to let everyone know that this is just your experience and what you went through, and not just a generalized for everybody.
I agree exactly. So I'm glad that you brought it up because you guys, this is not it's not going to be the same for everybody. But if you have gone through hospital like I did and was really bad, especially if you have double pneumonia, and I was in the hospital for about 22 days, Dean. So that
Right.
was pretty long in the hospital, and I almost died. So if anyone has it as much as bad as I did, and consider yourself as a long hauler, yes, this video would actually kind of help even people who have less, because everybody's different in the degree of severity of the COVID pneumonia. Yes, so you're right about that.
I want to go and ask you what a long hauler is, but let's kind of start from the beginning since like I was there since when you got this, so
Hmm.
I know the journey that you went through. So
And
tell
thank
us
you for
about
being there for the whole time, Dean,
like,
because I'm sure in the beginning you had no idea how bad I got. You have no idea what it is, and I had no idea too what I was about to go through in the hospital. I had no idea how bad it's gonna get. Yeah, so thank you for being there.
oh, you're welcome.
Hmm.
Of course, I'd be there for you. But
Hmm.
so
Thank you.
so so let's go back from the start. So prior for you getting contracting the virus, what were your thoughts about the virus? I mean, like there are people saying that you have to do protection. There are people that are saying that it's not real. So I mean, there are a lot of information that was going out there, depending on where you got your news sources from. So I want to ask you, what was your opinion in regards to this so far? I mean, before you got contracted the virus.
Well, Dean, honestly, I it was so new, okay, and I think most of us, like yourself as well, we didn't know anyone personally who had it. It was so new, and we didn't know much about it. So I did not really believe in it. I thought it was just like regular flu or bad flu, because we never had this kind of pandemic in our lifetime. This is the first time in United States that we have it this bad. But back in from March to like July, August, it wasn't as bad. But I did wear masks for about consistently about maybe first 6 months. And
Right.
after that, I think like a lot of people, we just like had it. We had enough lockdown. We had enough of this wearing masks. We had enough of this restriction, right?
Right. Right.
So I kind of slack off a little bit, toward after the 6 months. I have to be honest because I go, I'm healthy. I'm a CrossFitter. I work out a lot. So I thought nothing. I barely get sick in my life, Dean. And you know that I never get sick.
Right.
And so I thought, you know what? If anything happened, I can handle it. I'll be okay. Oh boy, I was wrong. I was wrong. I It was bad. This COVID, Honestly, I just have to warn everybody, this is real. And Dean, you have experience, through communication. And even up until today, after like going on fourth month already, I am still suffering. I'm still having a hard time breathing sometimes. And my heart sometimes palpitate a lot. It gets better, but it does take a lot of efforts. The first 2 months was difficult, Dean. And you knew about that. I Every day you ask me like how I feel, and I'll be like, oh man, I cannot even walk 5 step, 1 step. I feel like an old person. I feel like 100 years old, and it's getting better. And this is something that I would like to share too. What I do to help myself to speed up recovery. It's not easy, but I would love to be able to share and bring awareness about this disease. This is a disease, really. It destroys everything in our body, not just lungs, but heart, uh, blood, and just everything, nervous system. So I would like to warn everyone to be cautious about this. Just don't think it's not real. It's gonna get to you. If I would say 80% may not get bad symptoms, but those 20% will get them, just like myself. And then maybe half of them will not make it.
Right.
Hmm.
Let's 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 take another step back, because you're saying that you aren't fully invested, whether based on fatigue of following the rules and everything. Um, I do want to point out that your younger brother is an ER physician at a hospital.
Right, he is, yes.
So I'm sure he must have advocated for you to follow procedures, like follow the social distancing, wear
Absolutely.
masks.
Yes, he sure did. He's actually very strict about it. And I guess because he's a physician, emergency physician, he has seen a lot.
Right.
And, being a doctor, just like doctors and most nurses, they tend to be more cautious about all this disease and the virus than most general people because they have seen more. So he always tell me, Tina, you gotta wear masks, you gotta protect yourself, and he always does. You know, that's why he didn't get anything, and he had more exposure than I did. But it hit me. So yeah.
Okay. So we probably, I can ask you, do you know where you contracted the virus from? But it's probably, you don't know
This
because,
is hard though because I remember the ER doctor asked me, infectious doctor, and also pulmonary doctor asked me where did I get it from because that's what I want to know. You know, and I'll be honest, it's kind of hard to tell. I can actually beat myself to death just like trying to figure out where.
right,
But to be honest, it can be anywhere. It can be
right.
anywhere. Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you, so how did you think that the virus was going to be just a regular virus, like the flu virus, or do you think it's going to be something different prior to you getting contracting it?
To be honest, I had no idea at all that how bad it can get. Like I said, this virus is so new in medical, you know,
Right,
area. All the doctors don't know much about. Even when I was in the hospital, the infectious disease doctor told me that this is so new to them. Even my own brother, who's a doctor, he also said this is new to everyone, to all the doctors. And so, from what I heard from the news in the beginning, I thought it just like a regular flu, maybe bad flu, but I never even imagined that it can be deadly and very
right,
dangerous until it happened to myself. But how would one knows when you never experience yourself? This pandemic is like none of us have experienced before, Dean. Even I think even our parents' generation never experienced this. Yeah. So I just had no idea.
okay.
Mhm.
So let's take it to the point where contract you contracted you contracted symptoms, but you didn't know that you had COVID. So take me back to that day where you felt like really sick.
Sure.
You knew something wasn't exactly right.
Well, Dean, what just strange about this disease is that my symptom wasn't that bad in the beginning. And I think this is what I heard from other doctors too. Most people who went to the hospital, their symptom wasn't as bad. until it hit them the last day. And that's what happened to me. It felt like a mild cold or flu or even hay fever. Okay, that's what I felt. So I felt fatigued. I extremely exhausted, and then I have some cough. I have a little bit fever, but it wasn't as bad where I just couldn't get out of the bed. I was able to get out of the bed during the first week. However, toward the last day before I was admitted to the hospital, I remember, I went to the kitchen to get something to eat, and I was out of breath, and I was trying to scoop some soup into the bowl. It was so weird, Dean, because it felt like a slow motion movement because every tiny movement was a lot of exertion for me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't
Wow.
talk. That's when I realized, okay, something's not right. I couldn't walk. I couldn't talk. I couldn't eat. I couldn't chew because every single movement of my mouth chewing takes away oxygen. I was running out of oxygen during that time.
But you didn't
And
know.
that's no, and that's one thing I actually suggest all my friends and family to get pulse oximeter, and I think I mentioned it to you too. I
Right.
wish I would have that. I wish I would have that. But anyway, that's when I realized something's wrong, and so I called 911, and
Or
they
did you call 911 or did your brother encourage you to call 911?
he encouraged me to call. Actually, I was not gonna go because it wasn't as bad at the moment. But until it gets bad, it just went rapid, like quick, within a few hours. So I decided to make a call because at first, like, I'm just gonna sleep and rest and I'm gonna get better. That's what I thought. And I think that happened to a lot of people too. And I think there are some people who had the same as me and they isolate themselves in a hotel, and some people die actually. And I can see that it's not safe to isolate yourself by yourself if you are really sick because sometimes you don't feel it. But the last day it hits hard, you wouldn't be able to talk, move, or do anything at all. That's
Okay.
how dangerous it is. Yeah.
So when you called the ER, I'm certain that the ambulance came to pick you up, and
Yes.
you mentioned that you said that you waited 5 hours when you got to the
Yes.
hospital.
Yes. It took me. My oxygen level was like 83. It's really low, and so they give me an oxygen,
Oh, no,
and
but when you went to the ER, you waited 5 hours outside.
outside in the ambulance, inside
Right.
the ambulance car. Yes, 5 hours, and
Before
that
you
was
were admitted in October.
yes, yes, in October, first week of October, October 5th. I remember that.
Right.
They told me there wasn't enough bed. They're waiting for the bed. It was full. So I was like, oh my God, that's a long wait, you know? And I remember it was like maybe 4 p.m. and I wasn't in until like 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, like 9, 10, 9 or
Wow.
10 p.m.
That's crazy.
Yes. So you're talking about back, what about now? When they said people have to wait like 8 hours, believe it, it's real. It's not a made up media or anything like that. It is real. Because right now there's a lot more. There's a
Right.
lot of more breakout, a lot more people in the hospital. Uh, um, Seriously, the wait is going to be longer than 5 hours. Most hospitals, because what we saw in the media right now about coronavirus, it's true. It's not made up or it's not trying to scare people. It is scary. You want to get help in the hospital right now, it's going to be tough.
That's scary. I mean, to me, that's kind of scary.
Well, that's why we heard about some patient had code blue while waiting because the waiting is long and they need oxygen. They need
Wow.
oxygen. And now they're talking about not having enough oxygen in some
Scary.
hospital. My God, they're not going to make it because once your oxygen is low, your heart pulse begin to raise high. So it will feel like you have a heart attack, a stroke.
Yeah. Since you mentioned about oxygen, let's take it back to when you were admitted to the ER. They took your oxygen levels and they told you that it was low. And while they were doing that, they also they ran tests on you. So why don't you kind of share with everybody in regards to that?
You're talking about when I was admitted in the hospital, right?
Right.
Yeah. So they ran a test on me. They did a blood test. They did the swab in the nose and the mouth. And they think they did like 3 tests on me. And then I clearly remember the doctor came to me and said, "You have COVID pneumonia." I was in denial because I was like, "What? No, you probably have a wrong blood or from different patient. Can you test me again? Are you sure?" So that was kind of because I was in denial, dear Dean.
Right.
I was like, "No way! I'm so healthy." And they said, "Yes, dear, we did all kinds of tests. It's confirmed your both of your lungs are filled with virus." So immediately they put me in this isolated room, Dean. It's all chill, covered in the white sheet. I mean, I can't see anyone outside. Nobody can see me. I
Wow.
was alone in my room, isolated room, and they started to plug all kinds of tubes on me, and they gave me all kinds of steroid medications, and they flipped me down, face down, in a prone position right away.
What is prone position?
Well, this is when you face down on the table, on the bed,
Right.
and what it is with this virus is actually begin to close because my lower lung, that's why it affect the most, is the lower lung. And I wasn't able to breathe on my own by then, Dean. Within just 3-4 hours after I was admitted, my lungs start to close up quite a bit. So they have to face me down in order to open the breathing space. Because they told me that the lower lung is like in the back. That's why you can't lay on the back. This is kind of
Um,
interesting because I begin to find
yeah.
out that now they do that to every COVID patient. You have to face down.
So so I rem- so I remember you told me when you texted me, you
Yeah.
said, I have COVID, I'm in the hospital. And I
hmm
was like, what the hell? Are you serious? So being that one fortunately you had a phone, that's one thing. But I wanted
You know
to
what, Dean? I have to tell you one thing. It was so weird. Even when I was texting you during that time, it was such an effort to text. I was so tired to text you, but I tried to. Every tiny movement, body movement, talking, it's a lot of exertion for me at a time. So I just kind of want to share that because people don't realize how bad this can be when you have this virus that go into your lung. It is really bad.
so besides texting me, I know that you texted your brother, actually your brother texted you because he wanted to know
Yes,
how you're doing. And being that your younger brother who texted you is an ER doctor, do you want to share everybody what his um,
absolutely.
reaction was?
Well, I did mention that throughout the whole time because my brother's an ER doctor. He was in the communication with both pulmonary doctor and also infectious doctor the whole time since the minute that I was admitted to the hospital. And he texted me and he said, "Promise me that you will keep texting me every 15 minutes." So I said, "Why?" And he didn't say anything because I wasn't thinking anything. I was kind of like, during that time, Dean, I couldn't focus.
Right.
I wasn't able to focus. I was out of it too, in and out. But I think about a week later, he actually told me that when he found out about my lungs and talked to infectious disease doctor and also pulmonary specialist, he said I had 50-50
50-50.
survival to survive. He prepared a family about my condition. I remember he told me that he couldn't sleep and he cried. As a doctor, he knew how serious I was. I had a severe lung infection, with the COVID. And the pulmonary doctor told him that he may have to intubate me and keep me in
Wow.
ICU. Yeah, he said that either she can improve within the next 2 days or going backward next few days. I can go in either way, and he doesn't know. So when I heard that, and I wasn't able to breathe on my own at that time when he told me, and it was just a horrible moment in my life, Dean. I felt lonely. because we were isolated the whole time.
Right.
And it was a moment that I thought I could die. And just to think about the last moment, not be able to breathe and be in this condition, or if I survive and if I stay in this condition, all this question came into my mind. It was scary. And I'm sure all the COVID patient who had the same severity of the disinfection probably have gone through the same as I did. Seriously, I
So
thought I was gonna die.
you mentioned that you thought that you could die, and I know that you're very free spirited, and
Hmm.
I don't know if you really think about like death or what's beyond death and everything beyond that.
God help. Oh
So
my God.
being
Yes.
that you're in a fragile state, how did that make you feel? Like, I mean, do you want to elaborate on that?
Absolutely. Okay, I'll be honest with you, Dean. I never felt so fearful in my life until that moment. And that moment, I was even afraid of dying. And my mind just played tricks with me, I think. I thought to myself, my God, am I going to suffer? Where am I going to go after this? What if they cremated my body and where am I going to go? You know, a lot of question came to me. Am I going to survive? Am I going to be the same? Am I going to be this messed up? Because my condition was really messed up. I wasn't able to move, talk, anything at all. I was bedridden
Right,
for 2 weeks, 2 and 3 weeks. I wasn't able to eat on my own. I wasn't able to get out of the bed. They have to put pantry when I have to go number one, number two. And yes. And finally, Dean, a few days later, actually I decide to talk to God. I never done before because I'm such a fear spirit person. I'm spiritual, but I'm not a religious person who go to church or temple, you know. I had a conversation with God. I said, God, I'm not ready to go. I, I said, but if it's meant for me to go, I will surrender. I will not feel sad anymore. But you know what? The most important thing, Dean, is thank you. You posted on Facebook, and so many of old friends came around and text me. All my family text me, and what I got out of this, Dean, it's a loving feeling from family and friends. And even if it's the last moment of my life that I have to exit from this earth, I felt care and love. I don't want to cry in front of this.
right, right. I mean, because this is, I mean, to know that
And
you're,
this
you
is
know, to know
so
that you're loved by everyone. I mean, that's a huge gift. I mean, that's a
And
huge.
to me, it felt like this is so important more than anything. I thought, shoot, I don't want those $1 million. I don't want to work hard for the money. What am I going to do with all this money? I can't take with me, right? But in that moment, you felt alone because you're not allowed. They don't allow anyone to come visit you.
Right.
You know, none of my family can come. None of my friends can come. So all I got was a lot of texting. And as much as I was so tired to text back, I tried to get back, and they kept me busy. Everyone who texted me kept me busy, so I wasn't even thinking about dying or my condition as much. You see that? So in a way, that helped to keep you going, and it made me realize that having a great relationship with your family and friends are the most important thing in your life. I was the one who's
Absolutely.
not good at keeping touch with most of my friends, and now I'm actually keeping touch with the old friends every week. Even to say hi, hello, short hello is good because there are so many old friends that I haven't talked for years, and they all saw your post, thank you, and they all text me, pray for me, and all this stuff, and it's just the nicest feeling. So even if I go, I accept it, but it took me a few days to be able to accept that.
That's
Yes.
a huge, huge achievement that you're able to do acceptance. So I know that you
Yes.
mentioned that the after effects of COVID as recovering, that sometimes it's hard for you to sustain some train of thought or to sustain like even simple conversations like this. So how are you feeling right now?
Better. I still have that kind of not able to focus sometimes, but the first 2 months was very difficult for me to carry a conversation more than 10 minutes. I cannot focus. I feel extremely tired. I'm out of breath. I can't breathe. My lung, my chest just feel really heavy. Even now, if I talk more than an hour, I'm beginning to like lose my oxygen. I feel like it, even though it's not, but it feels like it.
Wow.
And it was hard to focus. I was always exhausted, always tired, hard to breathe, very hard to walk. Here I am, used to be in a CrossFit 5 days a week, Dean, deadlifting over 200 pounds, ran all the time, jump rope over 100 reps for like 1,000 reps, you know. I couldn't even walk 5 steps.
Wow, that's
Yeah. And
unbelievable.
I noticed that this virus also perhaps eat up your muscles because I remember after I got out of hospital, I couldn't see all my muscles. Everything just went shrunk. It's weird. But it affects a lot of things in your body. And believe me, Dean, it was discouraged. I was discouraged in the beginning during the first 2 months. I was discouraged thinking, oh my God, am I going to be ending up like this? Because many times when I start walking, I will have my heart starting to palpitate. So I was admitted 3 more times after the first um, discharge. So a total of 4 times that I was admitted in hospital.
Wow.
First time 22 days, second time 7 days, third time is 1 day, fourth time is 1 day. It's because of my heart or lung condition. It does affect your heart. Yeah, it's getting better, but I'm still suffering from it, every now and then, and I'm still recovering.
Right.
But as a neuromuscular therapist, this is my work. I understand too how to take care of myself as an athlete. I understand that, doing a cardio workout, it's good for you expanding your lungs. So the main thing is we have to stretch and expand the lungs. So I've been doing a lot of different exercise and different therapy to speed up my recovery. And I believe that I recover fast, and that's what my doctor told me. So this is something I would like to share too in the next um, session that we're going to talk about. I would love to share with some people who may have a similar experience as I did. Again, like you said, this is my personal experience. May not be for everyone, but it would be nice to share because I would like to be able to encourage those who have gone through the same thing and not get discouraged. We are in this together to help each other because this thing is so new. Even a lot of doctors told me, my own doctor and all my lung doctor told me that they they are still learning. They're doing study with the long hauler group and they are still learning at the same time as we do. So they're trying to throw all kinds of different technique or healing therapy to help the long haulers and just to see how each person recover so they can help the next person down the road. And this is one of the reasons why I say, hey, it'd be nice to be able to share this experience. Let everyone aware that don't take this for granted. Don't take our health for granted because this COVID is serious. It's deadly. It can kill you.
Okay, so I think this is a good segue so we can end the video for now so that you can continue to do recovery and rest.
Yes, yes. 'Cause I get tired after talking for a while, and you can see that sometimes I take a deep breath as I talk. I'm not sure you noticed that. Some audience may see that, like right now, I have to take a deep breath, just to,
So Tina,
yeah.
I'm going to thank you for sharing your personal time and taking time out of your schedule to share your story and your experience through this and continuing your experience. And we will continue in our next episode.
Next episode, yeah. So we're gonna talk more about being in the hospital. We can do that, right? If I think nobody really share about that. What is it like in the hospital?
Right.
What I have talked with the nurses and the doctor too. I'll share what my experience is. What it's like. So yeah, definitely. And thank you, Dean.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so
Alo-
next time.
Next
Bye.
time, aloha. Talk to you later, Dean.